Loktarg, our friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another Orc Mode workout. Today was max effort squat day. But a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. Click like on my other videos. Good Lord, this 11-inch box is difficult. I want to go to a 10, but I need to master this 11. And people are like, didn't you hit these sort of weights higher than this on this box? No, not on an 11. Look how deep I am. I am way below parallel. Okay? And having to hit that box is tough. Plus today, the straight bar, just trying to get my shoulders in position. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. As again, you guys know, I'd rehabbed an impingement. I can get under the straight bar again. I don't like getting under that straight bar. Doing it because it needs to be done. Part of me today just said, hey, we should just go back to nothing but safety bar work. But I'm like, no, I need to try to get under the straight bar some. It won't be on my dynamic days. But the yummy days, we need to get under it a little bit. And I don't even necessarily have to do it every week, but we need to have some consistency. I got up to 455 again, which is what I hit last time I tried on this box. But again, I'm at a lighter weight now. And it just felt heavy. I mean, it looks pretty good on camera. But it felt grindy, and I'm just like, you know, I'm cutting. I don't want to risk missing a lift. You know, could I probably go heavier? Yes. But that box is just so difficult. And, you know, that's the thing. People will say, well, if it's that hard, then why do it? Because it's that hard and it needs to be done. I need to master that deep position on those boxes. It's going to carry over to my deadlifts. It's going to carry over to my ability to explode out of the bottom of a back squat with a lot more weight. Problem I ran into, the shoulder was getting really uncomfortable after I did all the ramp ups to that, because I mean I start with the empty bar and then build up. The shoulder was getting pretty uncomfortable on my second set, so I only did 2 sets, and then my right hip started really cramping a little bit. And when I mean the hip, I mean the abductor, right up top, not the groin on the inside. And it was on the second set, so I'm like, look, I better chill with this. We got in 2 work sets. We got a training max. These work sets were hard. They were challenging. I better call it there. I wanted to do 3, but we're going to get what we're going to get. We can still hammer all the other accessory work. We can try to push that stuff hard, make progress. But yeah, as you guys can see, getting back under the bar is uncomfortable for me, to say the least, because everything's ratcheted up so tight. And I have to keep working that shoulder mobility. I've got to keep doing the dead hangs every day. It's going to be a process, and it's been a slow process, but we've made tremendous progress. I have to keep it going, and I have to be wary of which exercises are going to bother it. Now, if I wasn't going to compete in powerlifting again, I might just say nothing but safety bar and cambered bar. But I will compete again, and I'm going to have to use a power bar. So I might as well continue to work on getting my shoulders to where it can handle it. And like I said, I don't need to ever get under it more than once a week, sometimes even every other week, but we need to do it. And I need to do it consistently. But yeah, this set, I was getting part of the way through it, and I'm just like, man, my hip, it was done. Because again, I did all that sumo speed pulling on Thursday, and we're working these hips in a way they're not used to again. I have to build them back up. And I'm going to do a lot of stuff to work on my hips, which is one of the things you guys will see in this video today. Something you haven't seen me do. Stuff I've messed with a long time ago was box or chair deadlifts. And I have some of my clients do them. I have my clients do them more on conventional than sumo, though some have done them on sumo. It's a good fix for certain problems on the conventional deadlift. But we'll get to that in a minute. So I just did my 2 sets of those today. It's like, well, we'll get a little more volume on speed day. But again, some of that's just practice getting under that bar. And I might have some days where I do the rep work with the safety bar, and that might be the better choice. You know, ramp to maxes with that bar, so I get some practice under it. Okay? And then I can always do my rep work with a safety bar if I need to. Just like today, it's like, do I want to do the cambered or the safety? It's like, you know what? I need that middle back and upper back more. I need all that to keep growing. Let's just do the safety bar. Yes, I can move a lot more weight on the cambered bar for the good mornings. But right now, I really need to keep hammering these weak points. Keep hammering the weak points, even though I'm cutting. And I'm 18 pounds still from my goal. And then we can recomp or then do very short lean bulks and cuts back and forth from there. But I need to stay near that weight. So I went up 5 pounds on these today, though. I'm like, look, I was able to do a little more with this 291, which is the 70% of my max on this bar. My max is 421. I went up 5 pounds, and I got all my reps. Now, the last set was hard, because again, I'm not quite used to handling that extra 5 pounds. It was hard. And I'm not going to lie, the calorie deficit does affect my training energy, especially the lower body days. I start running out of steam, right? I have to dig in. And since I do this on no stims, no caffeine, I don't use a pre-workout, no coffee. I'm on 0 caffeine. I have been since last year. Not using any orals, if you guys know what that means. None of that's in there or anything going on. So I'm having to just dig in and just train. I don't have any extra help as far as those things go that people would normally do. It's going to have to get in and just work. But my work capacity on the lower body lifts does get hit. That's why I have to go for quality. We need quality over quantity right now. Keep trying to push tissue adaptations in spite of the deficit. Keep doing the hard stuff. The really hard stuff like those deep boxes. And yeah, and I complain about the 11, but I'm going to get to a 10-inch box eventually. It'll probably be the hardest thing I've ever done. The 11s are brutal. Because guys, keeping in mind, you've seen me do like 550 off of a 2-inch higher box and stuff. Put that in perspective. Right? So that couple of inches matters. It matters a lot. Up next, I decided to do some, basically these would be called chair deadlifts, but I used a bench. Did a bench sumo deadlifts. Even with a lightweight, these things are so hard. So here's the idea. You pull up to the position, and then you stand up, right? So you get in position, pull tight, pull up to where you normally should be, and then you come off the bench. You don't come off the bench until you get your back locked all the way up. And you can do this with conventionals. You can do this with sumos. They serve a different purpose slightly. This is a supplemental lift. This is a very much a special exercise. And in this case, why do it on the sumo? It stretches your groin, your adductors tremendously. It works the hips, but it's not hammering them the way that deep box did. It works them, but the adductor work on this is tremendous. That stretch is tremendous, and I need to stretch all that. I need to get that used to it, because then you have to use your hips to drive off the box. So you pull up, get your chest high, get tight, and then you drive up off the box using your hips. It's all hip to get you off that box. But I mean, I feel so much glute, I feel so much adductor. Tremendous exercise, and it works those areas really hard, even with this silly lightweight. I'm using 155 pounds, right? That is a stupid lightweight for me. It's difficult, and it just hammers those areas because, again, it forces you to brace, get tight, and then use them to explode off of there. Just like you'll see some guys talking about a pause deadlift. This is kind of the same idea, but way more exaggerated, because you have to come off that box. You pull up to the position, hold, then drive off the box with the hips. It lit those areas up for me today. Like, I felt it. The training effect, even with this lightweight, was pronounced. Because again, you're not able to use your whole body the way you should, and you're having to just use those muscles from a stretch position from that dead stop on the box. Great exercise. It will humble you, and don't think you're going to go heavy on it. Best of luck if you do. Then we did glute ham raises. Managed to get 11 on all 3 sets today with the 10 pounds. Again, they were tough, especially after doing the good mornings. But these are not as hard. They're not as challenging as after my speed days. So apparently the speed sumo work with the bands is fatiguing my hamstrings more than I feel like. Because my hamstrings were not as beat up going into this today, even though I used 5 more pounds on the good mornings than I did on the speed day. So I was able to do these a little better. The first 2 sets weren't bad. The third set, the last rep or 2 were really hard. I had to kind of rest a couple seconds at the top on it. But, again, we didn't get stuck doing 10s like we did on speed day. I got 11s. My record on these is 13 ever with this weight. So we're very much in that effective training zone. Good challenging sets, good hamstring work. Although my hip, because that hip felt a little dodgy, and it's not really painful, it's just that dodgy, like a little bit of inflammation in that right hip. a little bit from the deep box work. I did feel it a little bit on the first couple reps on the glute ham raises. So I do need to be aware of that. That does come out. If that area is fatigued, I always feel it on this exercise. It's not really painful, but it is there. It's a little bit of inflammation, some discomfort. So it's something just to be aware of and watch. And, you know, if I have to, if it starts to really become a little bit inflamed, we go over to conventional deadlifts for the speed work, probably deficits. And I may need to start rotating those. We'll see how it goes over the course of the block. And, you know, as much as I'd like to really just do only sumo for a while, I might have to work in some conventional for the speed pulls if my hips are getting too fatigued. And that's okay. It's okay. Because, again, it'll let me probably go wider. If I want to do chains then on the sumos and then bands on the conventionals, it'll let me go wider because I'm limited on my width inside the rack. It's actually a limit for me on those. Because, again, I'd like to keep working the sumo and the conventional. As for me, sumo builds conventional anyways. The reverse hyper's pretty good today. I did my normal weight, my 5-10 for sets of 25. But again, I realized how much a lot of my posterior chain got worked today. The last set, I didn't think I was going to get to the 25th rep. Around rep 20, I was shot. It's like I felt like I didn't have anything left. I don't have the volume that loud, but if you had the volume, I'm like literally grunting on every rep from 20 on the third set because, again, having to just dig in and finish them. And again, this volume's not super high right now. It's all manageable, and it has to be for lower body. It has to be right now. You know, so again, it's got to be quality work over quantity. It's got to make everything count. And yeah, that deep box work is absurdly hard. And again, look at the weight differences I'm forced to use. And it's not just because I'm cutting. It's that difficult. But we need that. I need that difficulty. Right? And it's going to make squatting feel so much easier later when I don't have to squat to a deep box. Be nice. Looking forward to it. So, overall, though, today, even though I was coming in, I would really hoped I was going to hit that 455 and it'd feel light enough that I would do a 20-pound jump. That was actually the plan. I came in and realized, you know what, that was a good training max. It was above 90%. I'm not going to push my luck. And then I noticed when my hip was getting inflamed on the second work set, that was probably a wise call. It was a wise call, you know. And again, just got to keep working with it. I have to keep up with that feedback. I have to watch that. And I'd love to be at a point where I take these two all-out maxes right now. But again, it's the same advice I give to my clients. There are times when we don't always follow the advice we give. When I have a client who's in a deficit, I tell them do training maxes. Do not grind your maxes for PRs, right? Just hit a training max and stop. And some of them don't listen to that. And it's something I have to tell them in a deficit. I need to be taking my own advice there. Yes, I'm only doing 2 ME days now. And so in theory, I'm like, oh, I should be recovering better. I should be going to all-out maxes. But I've realized, again, I'm in a pretty large calorie deficit. It's not just like half a pound a week here. So I need to take the advice that I give and prescribe to my own clients who are paying me for it. And for those curious, yes, I have 25 right now. I need to follow the advice I give them, right? I'm not Superman. I'm not immortal. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.